Ladies and gentlemen, the Force is back. Hello everyone, my name is Josh Terry and welcome to Movie Reviews by Josh. Today, we're going to talk about really the only movie you got to talk about in 2016. We're going to talk about Rogue One. This is the one you've been waiting for. And if you're a Star Wars fan, I don't really need to set up very much for you. You know that this is the prequel to A New Hope. This is the story of how the rebels went and stole the plans to the Death Star. It all centers around a particular character, and she's played by Felicity Jones. Her character name is Jyn, and she is actually the daughter of the guy that the Empire has enslaved and forced to build the Death Star. So when the Rebel Alliance starts to get wind of the rumors of this new superweapon, this Death Star, and then they find out the connection between its designer and Jyn, they recruit Jyn to see if she can get in contact with her father and find out what's going on. In the process, they come across an extremist guy who used to be part of the Rebel Alliance but then spun off, played by Forrest Whitaker, and all kinds of other fun characters, which eventually leads to kind of this rogue team, literally flying a spaceship called Rogue One, that sets out to find the plans and spur us on towards A New Hope. So without giving away too many of the details or any spoilers here, I'll just say that Star Wars fans are going to really enjoy this. This is a lot of fun. It's different, but there are enough similarities, and probably more similarities than you might expect. The visuals are incredible. The Star Wars imagination and universe is on full display. You're going to see all kinds of familiar characters, but they've also spun things off into a lot of unique characters and spaceships that are going to keep cosplayers busy for years and years to come. The performances are all a lot of fun. Felicity Jones does a great job, but she's not completely central to this. There's actually a lot of other things going on around her as well. There are some key differences, and again, without giving away too much, some of the things that you have grown to expect with Star Wars films have been modified a little bit. And so be prepared for that. I don't think it's the kind of thing that's going to throw people off to a significant amount, but you will notice a few differences. You're also going to notice probably a few more cameos than you might have expected. And I'll just leave it at that. It's probably already pretty publicized that Darth Vader is in this, and I think you're going to like the way that he is used. I enjoyed the way that he was used, but there's more where that came from. As for the new characters, I already mentioned Jyn by Felicity Jones. She does a great job. One of the big highlights of the film, one of my favorite new characters, is a new protocol droid called K2SO, who more or less plays the C-3PO role, except as more of kind of the dry sarcasm 21st century version. He's an Imperial droid who was stolen or kidnapped, or whatever you do a droid that kind of has artificial intelligence in the long ago galaxy far, far away. He's a lot of fun, has a lot of great one-liners. Another character who's a big highlight is almost kind of a Jedi wannabe, a blind man who has a lot of martial arts skills and is at one with the Force as much as he possibly can be without any formal Jedi training. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy watching him. I had a lot of fun with him. There were a lot of things. If you're, like I said, if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, I think you're really, really going to enjoy this. If you really want to nitpick it, there are definitely some little things that you can criticize. Some of those things are the kind of things that I can't really elaborate on without giving away too many spoilers, and so just know that that is the case, which is why overall I'm going to give Rogue One 3.5 stars out of 4. It's a fantastic movie. You're going to have a blast. You're going to want to watch it over and over and over again. You know, one thing that really actually did surprise me about this movie, especially considering the fact that the majority of the characters in this movie are totally unfamiliar, was the emotional impact it had. And maybe it's just because I know what's going to be happening down the road, but one of the things that I think is really unique and interesting and a big success with Rogue One is that it makes A New Hope better. It adds so much depth to the story that we see in the original Star Wars that it really kind of enhances what's going on, and you realize, you know, just for example, I think about that line from Return of the Jedi when Mon Mothma says, "Many Bothans died to bring us this information." And obviously she's referring to the news about the new Death Star, but you start thinking about all of the things that happen off screen in these movies. And we've always just kind of taken for granted the fact that the franchise started off with the Death Star plans, you know, in Princess Leia's hands. And this story about how they got into those hands is more moving than I expected it to be. And part of that is because I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan, and Part of it, though, is just because it's a really good story and it's well developed, and I was surprised by that, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. But then again, it has all the great stuff that you enjoy in Star Wars anyway. The action is incredible. The visuals and the imagination, like I mentioned before, are fantastic. And it also, one of the greatest strengths it has is that it gets better as it goes along. Don't get me wrong, the beginning of the film and the middle of the film are very, very good, but the third act is, you know, you've seen bits and pieces of it in the trailer with the AT-ATs and all the battle on the beach and all that kind of thing. It's, when you see the full thing, you are going to love it. So I'll just leave it like that. Like I said, 3.5 stars out of 4. You're going to want to see it many, many times. You're going to be really excited for episode 8 next year. It's also important to note that, like a lot of the other recent Star Wars films, this one is also PG-13. It's a comparatively soft PG-13. I don't think parents are going to be very concerned about, you know, letting younger kids see this. It's for the sci-fi action violence mostly. There's a little bit of creepiness with a mind-probing octopus, Jabba the Hutt looking creature. Sorry if that's a spoiler. But there's really nothing that's going to be overly offensive unless you happen to be offended by octopus-like Jabba the Hutt creatures. And I might be. So thanks again for stopping by. My name is Josh Terry. This is Movie Reviews by Josh. We're going to be having new content for new movies every week. Make sure that you click subscribe and also activate the notifications so you can find out as soon as the new videos are up. And thanks again.